She prayed for a god. She prayed for a savior. And the universe, with a twisted sense of humor, sent her one. She wanted a god, but in his place, a monster answered the call.
Let's be real, the isekai genre is flooded with overpowered protagonists. But even in that crowded room, few, you hear me? I said a few, can match the sheer, terrifying absurdity. Terrifying absurdity of Lloyd De Saloum. When you hear overpowered, you might think of heroes who train to become the strongest, or chosen ones destined for greatness. Lloyd is neither. He is the result of a singular, burning obsession taken to its absolute extreme. This isn't the story of a hero. It's the story of a young boy whose love for magic is so profound, so all-consuming, that it has turned him into one of the most feared beings in existence. A monster that leaves both demons and angels trembling. Today we're exploring the abyss that is Lloyd's power. We'll follow his journey from a reincarnated magic scholar to a prince who casually breaks the fundamental laws of reality. We're looking at the key moments from the anime that show how a child became a walking cataclysm, and why his very presence is considered a horrifying anomaly. This is the story of how overwhelming power, combined with a child's boundless curiosity, creates something truly unstoppable. Grab a seat, sit back and relax, and welcome to my anime lounge. To understand the monster, you first have to understand the man. In his previous life, Lloyd was just an ordinary sorcerer with a deep, passionate love for magic, but none of the things you need for greatness. He didn't have the right bloodline, the innate talent, or the social standing to ever truly master his craft. His life was one of frustration, constantly hitting a wall he could never break. In a fight with a powerful noble mage, he was effortlessly killed, burned alive by magic he could only dream of wielding. But as his life faded, he felt no hatred or regret. Instead, he was in awe, marveling at the beauty of the very spell that was ending him. His dying wish was simple: to have had more time to study magic. That wish was then granted. He reawakened as Lloyd De Saloum, the 7th prince of a powerful kingdom, with all of his memories intact. Born into the perfect environment with a prestigious royal bloodline granting him an immense natural affinity for mana. His life's single greatest obstacle was just gone. His obsession, however, remained. As an infant, his first taste of true power was an accident. As a baby, he let loose a spell that blew a massive hole through the palace wall, an act that instilled in him a slight paranoia about his own unchained strength. While his older siblings vied for the throne, Lloyd had zero interest in politics or power. He saw his position not as a path to kingship, but as an all-access pass to the greatest resource he could ever imagine: the royal library. He spent his early years devouring every text, every scroll, every piece of magical knowledge the kingdom possessed. He trained with his battle maid and guardian Silpha, a warrior of immense skill, and even as a young child, he could easily match her superhuman speed using basic key manipulation and enhancement magic. To everyone else, he was a slightly eccentric, adorable young prince. But in reality, a magic savant was being forged. A scholar finally given an infinite canvas and the tools to paint a masterpiece of terrifying proportions. Every OP character has that moment, the instant they reveal their true nature. For Lloyd, this came when he stumbled upon the kingdom's forbidden library, a place containing the most dangerous and sealed artifacts. And deep within, he found not a book, but a demon. A Majin named Grimoire, a powerful demon who was sealed away centuries ago, saw this little kid and thought his luck had finally turned. This was his ticket out, a potential vessel to escape his prison. That optimism didn't last long. When a being can perceive mana, they see a person's magical signature. When Grimoire looked at Lloyd, he didn't see a child. He witnessed a humanoid abomination. The anime visualizes this as a monstrous, shifting black silhouette, a being of pure, dense, abyssal darkness. Its eyes aren't eyes, but two gaping holes filled with a void of countless skulls. A seemingly endless abyss of magical power. This is the true shape of Lloyd's mana. A presence so immense and unnatural that it strikes primal fear into the hearts of demons. The very beings who are supposed to be the purveyors of fear themselves. The confrontation wasn't a fight. It was a lesson in humility for the demon. Grimoire, who could unleash ancient destructive magic, threw everything he had at the prince. Lloyd, with a look of casual curiosity, just stood there. He conjured a personal barrier, a simple spell, yet it effortlessly absorbed all of Grimoire's most powerful attacks without a scratch. Seeing that the demon was out of tricks, Lloyd decided it was his turn. With about as much effort as swatting a fly, he unleashed the spell.
Take a look at your defensive magic!
A torrent of overwhelming fire erupted, so powerful, it didn't just defeat Grimoire, it threatened to utterly incinerate his very soul. In that moment of absolute terror, he did the only thing he could. He surrendered completely, pledging his eternal loyalty. Lloyd hadn't just defeated a legendary demon, he had tamed him, turning a creature of immense power into his personal familiar, a magical research assistant. This event set the true baseline for Lloyd's power. He wasn't just strong for a human. His very nature was an anomaly that horrified the horrors of that world. Lloyd's peaceful life of magical study was inevitably interrupted when the Assassin's Guild began to make its move in the Saloum Kingdom, inadvertently becoming the next test subjects for his power. This arc was pivotal, not just for the fights, but for showing the surgical precision of Lloyd's abilities. Several guild members were blighted, individuals born with unique and dangerous powers that they couldn't control. To others, they were monsters. To Lloyd, they were fascinating puzzles. Instead of just killing them, he analyzed their condition. With his profound understanding of mana, he was able to fix their mana flow, tattooing stabilizing enchantments directly onto their bodies to grant them full mastery over their powers for the first time. He didn't just defeat them, he fundamentally changed their existence out of pure scientific curiosity. But that's not the impressive part, nor the important one, because this arc leads to the arrival of the real threat, the demon orchestrating the guild's chaos, possessing the body of the guild's teleporting leader, Jade. What follows is one of the most intense battles of the first season. Gisarm, now wielding perfected teleportation, unleashes a relentless assault, spamming attacks that bypasses Lloyd's defenses. But Lloyd, the ultimate magical scholar, adapts instantly. After getting hit by just one of these instant death spells, he analyzes it and immediately figures out a counter. The battle escalates until Gisarm, in a final act of desperation, unleashes his ultimate attack, the dark, deadly sphere. But to his horror, Lloyd simply counters with his own spell, Void, a sphere of pure nothingness that doesn't just block the attack, but effortlessly erases it from existence.
I'm fighting for my life. Y'all killing me with this.
Lloyd, looking more disappointed than threatened, proceeds to completely overwhelm the Demon Lord, demonstrating that even a demon's final desperate gambit is just another boring puzzle to him. He really pulled up to heaven and started squabbling with angels. With a demon as his research assistant, Lloyd's curiosity soon turned to the opposite end of the spectrum, sacred magic. After hearing of its existence, he decided he absolutely had to learn it. It's like me learning about new Oreo flavors. But when the church couldn't provide a demonstration, Lloyd took matters into his own hands. Using his mastery of spatial magic, he sought out the source and teleported himself directly into the divine realm uninvited.
Who that? Who in my house? I'm the devil. Who's asking? The devil is not welcome here.
There he came face to face with an angel named Jahiro?
Wrong.
I'ma just put the actual pronunciation there because I'm pretty sure I'm messing his name up. The very being who bestows sacred magic upon the mortal world. The angel, shocked of course by this mortal's intrusion, did what any celestial guardian would do. He tried to remove the passenger. It was a mistake.
What can happen when keeping it real goes wrong?
What he saw as a duty, Lloyd saw as the ultimate magical demonstration. The fight that ensued was so one-sided it was comical. A being of the divine realm unleashed celestial power, only to have Lloyd analyze and counter it instantly. The boy prince wasn't just defending himself, he was having the time of his life, joyfully dissecting a power he'd never seen before. His enthusiasm quickly became a threat to the realm itself. Lloyd's sheer magical output, unleashed with the abandon of a child in a sandbox, began to overwhelm the celestial dimension. It stated that his power so vastly outmatched the angels that he could destroy a door that should never be broken, threatening the very fabric of the divine realm. Realizing the danger, yielded, granting Lloyd the gift of sacred magic. But in a moment that defines his character, Lloyd was ultimately disappointed. For him, the thrill wasn't in gaining a new power, but in the challenge of learning it. And to his dismay, learning magic from an angel was just too easy. After the events of the anime's first season, the story escalates dramatically in the second, moving beyond lone demons into the heart of organized religion. The narrative introduces the powerful Lord's Church and its leader, Pope Gitong. This arc forces Lloyd to confront not just a powerful mage, but a man whose evil was born from a crisis of faith. Gitong was once a good man, but after tragedy struck as it does, and his wife died, his faith shattered, leading him to believe that there is no God. This nihilism twisted him into a villain who experiments with forbidden magic and chimeras, seeing himself as outside of any divine law. The conflict begins when the church is implicated in criminal activity, and Gitong's fervent denials mask the fact that he is indeed the mastermind. His path inevitably crosses with Lloyd's, and in the young prince's impossible power, Gitong believes he found a god, a false god that must be destroyed to prove his nihilistic worldview. He attempts to sacrifice one of Lloyd's friends. This act, this willingness to harm someone Lloyd cares for, finally provokes a rare and terrifying anger in the young prince. For the first time, it's not just about curiosity. This sets the stage for a dramatic showdown. The battle isn't just a clash of power, but of ideology. Gitang, fueled by his hatred for a god he believes abandoned him, throws everything he has at the prince. But he is confronting a being who wields godlike power with the simple curiosity of a scholar. Lloyd doesn't claim to be a god. His existence is simply a fact of nature, an anomaly of magical obsession. In their final confrontation, Lloyd completely dismantles Gitang, shattering not only his chimeras and magic, but his entire philosophy, forcing the fallen pope to face the terrifying reality that the universe doesn't need a god to produce a monster like Lloyd.
来い。最終ラウンドだ。
So, what does all this power really mean? The answer lies not just in his destructive capability, but in the terrifying psychology that drives it. He is not motivated by justice, revenge, or a desire to be the strongest. His single unwavering goal is to learn everything there is to know about magic. He is the ultimate scholar. The entire world is his laboratory. This makes him profoundly unpredictable and therefore uniquely dangerous. A typical hero might hesitate to use world-ending spells. Lloyd's only hesitation is whether casting it might destroy a unique magical phenomenon he wants to study. He once erased his own memories of certain discoveries just so he can experience the joy of learning them all over again. This obsessive academic detachment is what makes him so feared. When demons see his mana as a humanoid abomination, it's because they're sensing something utterly alien, a being with godlike power, but the insatiable, amoral curiosity of a child. His combat style reflects this. He doesn't just overpower his enemies, he overwhelms them with a quantity and quality of magic that their minds can't even process. He analyzes every attack thrown at him with his special barrier, breaking it down to its core formula. It's not just to defend against it, but it's also to learn from it. Unlike other overpowered figures who seek validation or dominance, Lloyd has no such needs. For him, the fun is in the discovery. This is the core of his OP nature. He has the power to destroy reality. I know y'all heard that P, capital P, but the mindset of a passionate researcher. He is an abyss of mana, a walking library of forbidden knowledge, a god of magic who still looks at every new spell with the wide-eyed wonder of a child. And there is nothing more terrifying than a god who is still experimenting. And there you have it, folks. Another highly recommended show to add to your playlist. If you're a fan of the OP protagonists that play by their own rules and establish dominance over their world, you will love Reincarnated as a 7th Prince. Lloyd is even crazier than the supposed villains in the show. At least they have an ends. They have main goals. Lloyd is just a greedy, magical masochist who wants to experiment with all magic in existence and see how far he can exceed the limits of it. One of my favorite moments was from season 2, where she was running in the rain, calling out for God, only for Lloyd to show up. The show is surprisingly extremely funny too, with developed characters. Y'all get the point. It's a fun time. But that's enough of my yapping. Now it's your turn. What other characters in anime give off this same kind of existential dread? Not by being evil, but just by breaking the rules of their world. Let me know down in the comments below. Hit that like button and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. It really helps me out. Join the lounge and grab yourself a seat. Share with your friends or anyone who loves anime like us.
Tell your friends about me.
I appreciate you all for watching. And as we always do when we close out, let's all raise a glass in the air. Here's to anime.